This cinematic was built entirely inside Fortnite, and I couldn't have done it without Cartwheel. Today we're going to show you how Cartwheel works with UEFN to help you animate characters and bring them into your experience. Alright, so here's a prototype. This is the two different pieces of video reference that I comped together just to kind of get a sense of the timing and the pacing of this shot. Once I'm ready, I'll upload all this to Cartwheel, each shot individually, and generate animation for each one. Alright, so here we are in Cartwheel. I'm going to start by uploading the video reference for the character that wins the paper, rock, scissors, character 1. So click on Upload, Record, Upload Video, and drag that video reference to right there. So here's my video reference for character 1. Looks like it uploaded great. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and hit Add Motion. It's usually pretty fast, takes a minute or two. Alright, so here's my video reference captured and turned into animation. Looks like I got it wrong. This is actually the character that loses, not the one that wins. Doesn't matter. Need to upload this one too, so that's good. So we got this is the character 1 is the loser. We love it, so let's go ahead and download. We're going to Unreal, so click FBX, change this to Unreal. I'm going to switch this to 30 FPS because I believe that's what works best for UEFN. Yeah, let's go with that. So go ahead and click download. Give that a second. Okay, let's do character 2. So I'm going to click New Motion right here. Start fresh. Got a brand new axle here with nothing on it. I'm going to upload, record, upload video. All right, so here's the footage for character 2, the character that wins paper, rock, scissors. It's working pretty well. You notice how both of these are like I'm running the same direction. Because it's 3D animation, I can just switch it later. So once it's uploaded, once it's captured, I can just like mirror the footage, turn the character around, and have it running the other way. That's what I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and add motion and convert this to animation. All right. So here is the victory, the paper, rock, scissors victory. The caption's got it right, man. Box exercise victory. I don't know why. I find that so funny. But all right, so cool. Look at that. The fingers are nice. This is looking good. Let's just open that up so we can see it a little bit better. It's looking nice and awesome. We are done. Let's go to UEFN. I'm going to download this. Click FBX, Unreal, change to 30, and download. Okay, so to get started, just make sure you install Unreal Editor for Fortnite. I'm in the Epic Games launcher right here. You need to have the base game installed also, Fortnite. So you install the base game, and then once you have that installed, then you can add Unreal Editor for Fortnite. So just go ahead and get that booted up. And first thing you're gonna get a project browser right here to kind of show you these are different islands that you can start with your world. It's really cool. There's a whole bunch of like templates in here that you can learn from. The one that we are going to use for this project is in the feature examples section right here. You're going to click on this animation tab. This one comes with some animation assets that you're going to need, mainly some control rigs so that you can modify the animation. I'll call my project UEFN City, and we're going to create a new project. Cool. So once you're in this project, this is a neat project that Epic has set up so that you can kind of learn some of the ins and outs of creating animation for UEFN. It's pretty neat. It's worth checking out. There's a lot of neat stuff in here. What we are going to do for our little cinematic is we're going to go to new level, and we're going to pick a new level. I'm going to pick this Tilted Towers Island and hit create. Some of you have played Fortnite before. This is going to look pretty familiar. Vehicles and trees and buildings. It's pretty neat. This is all just included with the UEFN project, so you can just build whatever you want in here. It's pretty neat. And here is the little area that I have scoped out to sort of build our little cinematic. First thing I want to do is I'm going to import that animation that we just created in Cartwheel. So I'm going to create a new folder, call it FBX. This is where I'm going to import my FBX. I'm going to import my two FBXs that I had previously created. So I called them paper, rock, scissors, lose, paper, rock, scissors, win. I'm going to import these. So I'll start with the first one, paper, rock, scissors, win. Normally, when we import stuff to Fortnite or to Unreal, I just poke this reset to default button, and that works pretty well. With UEFN, I'm not quite sure why, but we need to rotate the character 90 degrees when we import it. So I'm just gonna, under this transform section here, I'm gonna rotate this 90 degrees. It's just in my testing, this is what I found that we need to do. Import animations, make sure that checkbox is checked there, and import. So here is our animation that we imported on Axel. This is the winning one. Yep, there we go. Okay, cool. I'm gonna make another folder, and I'm gonna call this animation. I'm gonna take my animation, the animation sequence of the win, right click, and I'm gonna retarget animations. And now we're going to pick the UEFN mannequin. Yeah, we're going to pick that one right there. Search for win. This is the animation of the character winning. Just do a little preview. You double click on this to show you a preview of what it's going to look like and see if the retarget is going to work correctly. Looks like it's looking good. So get export animations. And this is going to ask you where you want to put it. This is why I created that folder. I'm going to put it right here in this animation folder. Give it a prefix, FN for Fortnite, and hit export. Cool. So now in my animation folder, I have this new animation that we're going to use. Cool. Let's do the same thing for the other animation. Back in my FBX folder, I click import again. This time I'm going to pick the loser. Don't need to import the mesh this time because I already did it. Change this to 90. This is the paper X scissors losing animation. Fail. All right. Cool. Let's retarget this one also. Retarget animations. Pick the Fortnite mannequin again. Lose is the name of this animation. And export. Cool. There's the win. There's the lose. I'm just going to do a little naming convention cleanup. Animation sequence. Win. Cool. Got those names cleaned up, so now that's nice and simple. All right, so we're good to go. All right, so to put this animation into your world, what you're gonna need to do, you need to search for something called a character device. If you come over here to your Fortnite folder, type character device. This right here is what you're looking for, this little thing, and just drag one of these onto your scene. Over here in your details panel, once you have your character there, you can change your character. This is really cool. You can just pick a different character. I'd rather have this one. There's like all these default characters that are really sweet that you can choose from. A lot of them have hair and cloth. It's really neat. Ooh, here's a nice like anime style. I'm gonna pick that one. It's called Lennox. Sweet, so now I have Lennox in there. Just for now, I'm going to stick with that. Okay, so we have two characters in this shot, so we're going to duplicate this. To duplicate, you just hold Alt and drag left and right to duplicate your character device. So now we have two character devices in this shot. This one, I'm just going to give it a different character. Let's do this one for now. Why not? Sweet. Okay, so now we got two characters in this shot, and let's get some animation on there. So there's already a folder called sequences. I'm going to make a new one, level sequence. I'm going to call this level sequence demo. All right, so now we have a new level sequence, and you should have a sequencer that also showed up right here, which is cool. If your camera is moving around like way too fast like this, you can adjust the camera speed up here. I like to have it like nice and slow. So like now that you have these two characters in your shot, you're going to add each one to the sequencer. So select the character, click add actor to track, character device. Select the second one, add actor to track, character device 2. So now I have these two character devices on my track, and I'm just going to add some animation to them. Animation sequence lose. That's what I want for her. Now that she's got the animation on it, I'm going to reposition her so that she is sort of over here. I'm going to have her running in and arriving at the chest, sort of in that vicinity, about where that is. And this character, I'm going to move it over there. So, okay, so this character, she's coming in. Let's get her a little closer. This is where that takes place. And then she does paper X scissors. Yeah, so that character is in place. Let's put the animation on the second one. This one, add character device, add animation, and we're gonna do, this one's the winner. So put that there. Now I'm gonna place this character just like I did the other one, get it all lined up. All right, so there is that. Looks like they are this one's slightly above the ground. I'm just gonna push it down, loading. This is a good start. I'm just changing my mind. I would rather have some different characters. This girl, what do I want? There's like 800 characters in here that you can choose from, and they're all just like phenomenally good characters. They're really nice. Twisty. I gotta see what this one looks like. That's wild. Tracy Trouble. Yeah, that's the girl that I originally used. So let's Tracy Trouble. Sweet. There's the character that I originally used. Nice. And then for this anime character, I think I used like a chicken. I think it was like chicken tender or something. Tender defender. There it is. Cool. So now we've got our Tracy Trouble and our tender defender, and they're doing their basic actions, and they're kind of roughly placed. This is enough for now to kind of set up our cameras and start figuring out our sequence. Let's keep moving. So the next thing I want to show is The whole reason we use this project is if you want to do some changes and edits to this animation, which often you will. In my case, yes, I'm going to want to change. I'm going to fix some of the hand poses. I'm going to add a little bit of facial animation to Tracy. I am going to tighten things up and just do, this is kind of my blocking, and I'm going to use this as a base and kind of build on it and add and really customize it and really improve the animation quite a bit. So in order to do that, you're going to need to put on a control rig. A couple different ways you can do this. If you want to do some basic adjustments, I recommend using a layered control rig. So you check this layered box right there. And now when you add the Fortnite mannequin control rig, it keeps all of your animation in place, but it puts this layered adjustment rig on top of it. You can animate this, so you can do some adjustments where you can set a key right here on the head and then animate a little look down. So now I've animated that, and then maybe I animate it back. So this is crude animation, but this is one way you can do it. You can do layered adjustments. You don't have to deal with like the massive amount of keys that are on these characters that created this animation. You just do a couple of small adjustments. The layered control rig is very powerful. So that's one way you can do it. If you don't want to use the layered approach and you actually just want to see the actual data, the actual animation, and kind of edit it from there, there's a different way to do it. And for that, I'm going to do this in reverse. First, I'm going to delete the animation, so it's back to nothing. And then click Control Rig, uncheck Layered, because you don't want that for this situation. Now I'm going to add my control rig. So there it is. It's on the chicken. There's no animation. And in this situation, now what I want to do is on the Fortnite control rig, there's a difference. If you right-click here, you get different options than if you right-click over here. So if you right-click in this section right here, you'll see this import anim sequence into this section. So I'm going to pick animation sequence lose. A little pop-up comes up. I'm going to select reduce keys, and what this does is it sort of, if I imported the animation without this, it would just put a key in every single frame, which is kind of a lot of keys, and we don't really want that. We want it to kind of simplify our splines a little bit. So I'm going to select that button and then hit load animation. Cool. So now when we look, we can see our character running in. And what's really nice is that here are all the keys on the character. I can see all the animation right here. If I select like the body control right here and I come over to my splines, I can see here are all the controls, the animation controls, all the splines on the body. I'm actually just generally pretty happy with this, so we're good. One thing I'm going to do is when I set this up, this is set up to parent space. What I want to see is that this character is moving through space. So I'm going to go to frame 0. I'm going to change this to world. And now it's going to bake all the animation to world space, which is what I want. That's better. Okay, so look at... Now I can see this like blue control here. Now I can see the animation coming in. So a lot of keys here. Let's see. I'm going to clean these up a little bit. If you select these splines here, come over to the left side, select those, go to Filter, Smart Reduce, hit Apply. There we go. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, so now the character's coming in, and I can see this blue control is representing like the velocity across the frame like this. And maybe this is kind of landing. It's actually pretty nice, but maybe I want to have a little bit more of an ease in on this. I'm going to change this view to normalized view so I can see this a little better. And I'm going to delete some of these keys and make this a little bit of a softer. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Cool. All right, so now we've got animation on the chicken. We can modify it. We can do some work to it. Got a control rig on the character, and we are good to go to start working on the animation of the chicken. All right, so I have rearranged my UI just a little bit to make it a little bit more convenient for animation. I put my sequence curve editor right up here on top of my sequencer. And then over here, I've got details panel, outliner, anim details. Anim outliner is really handy. This is a little bit like a picker. You can kind of pick your controls for your character. Let's put the control rig on the other character as well. So that's character 1. Character 2 is over here. And we're going to put a control rig on her. Control rig, Fortnite mannequin control rig. And then we're also going to do the same thing. Right click in this section here, import animation into sequence, win, reduce keys, load animation. Awesome. So there's that. And now Oops, because I wasn't on frame 1 and I did that, I'm just going to slide this over. There we go. So now it's lining up. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out too. Once you have a control rig applied to a character, you now get a couple of new options up here in your viewer. You can select this one, toggles selectability between sequencer only and all other objects. So if I don't want, there's other stuff in this scene. Obviously there's some trees, there's all kinds of stuff, but I don't want to be able to accidentally select that stuff. So I only want to be able to select stuff that's in my sequencer for doing animation adjustments and stuff. So that is that one. The other one, whether or not only rig controls can be selected. So that's an even more refinement. Here, I can still select the character if I don't have that checked. And that's actually handy because if I want to select the character and come over to the details panel, maybe I want to switch it to a different character. Maybe I want to do just like a global adjustment to the character's location. She's still floating just a tiny bit, so I'm just going to push her down a little bit so her feet are on the ground. But yeah, that's what I'm going to point out, those little features there for isolating what you're going to be working on. All right, so now we've got animation on her and we've got animation on him, and we're pretty good. We're in a good spot. I'll adjust the timing a little bit later, but for now, let's just start setting up some cameras to set up this cinematic. Come back here to the top. These are my two characters. I'm going to I'm going to right click on those and I'm going to add them to a folder. New folder, rename this to characters. Cool. So now I can see them, but I can close that out if I don't want to look at that. I'm going to make a new folder, and we're going to call it cameras. We're going to start with an establishing shot. Establishing shot is like, where am I? What is this scene? The first thing you want to do in a cinematic or just any kind of storytelling is just establish the lay of the land. Where are we? What is this? Where is this world? So I'm going to have a nice wide angle shot like this. That's just sort of like, you see the two characters running in. You see, okay, we're in a park area. There's a chest. There's two characters. I know where I am. That's an establishing shot. So let's start by clicking over here, add cinematic camera actor. Now you get a little preview of what your camera is doing. It's right here. I'm going to, over here in the outliner. Oh, I'm also going to do a little bit of cleanup here in my outliner because this is kind of hard to look at. We got a bunch of stuff here. So, okay, here are our two characters. I am going to group those into a folder here. I'm going to call them characters. And then all this other stuff that's in the scene. There's just so much. I'm just going to group all of that into a new folder as well. Move to new folder, this like environment or something. Now I can just close that if I don't want to see all that stuff. I just want to see my characters. That's cool. All right, so the new camera I just added, where did that go? I think I just put it in here. Camera. Oh, there's cinematic camera actor. Take that out. I'm going to do another folder and I'm going to call it cameras. Okay, I'm going to rename this to shot 1. Put that there, and now I'm going to drag this over here, add my camera to my sequencer, and now when this little icon is selected, now I'm actually piloting the main camera, or this camera, and I can move. This is a really handy way to kind of place your camera. So we were originally sort of over here. This is the place that I want to put this camera, so right about there is good. There's this new camera cuts track. Camera is automatically added to the camera cuts track, and you can see it right here. This will make a little bit more sense in a second, but for this first shot, let's just put it about like right there. And I'm actually going to do just a little bit of some movement on it, just because it's nice to have a little bit of motion on the camera. And I'm going to do that with simply animating the focal length, just have it zoom in just a little tiny bit. So I'll put a keyframe on the focal length right there, and then we get to about this place, and we're going to zoom into about there. So now there's a little bit of motion on that shot. I like to have like a linear transition. So if you look at this curve that it just created, these two keys, there's like a slope to it. There's a little bit of ease in and ease out. And I want, for a camera move, it's just nice to have a linear move. So I'm gonna hit 4, select those keys and hit 4. And now that camera is a nice, consistent movement in like that. Pretty happy with that first camera. Let's add a second camera. Now I want to have like a close-up on the character, this character's face. If I'm over my sequencer, over this camera cuts track, if I hit Shift-C, it bumps me in and out of this camera cuts track. See how the icon turns on? Shift-C will do that. So I just want to go back to a perspective camera and look around and see. This is about, I kind of want a camera something like this for shot 2. This is like, I want to have like a reaction shot on her. Like, let's add camera 2. Okay, so I'm going to add a new camera, cinematic camera actor. I'm going to call this shot 02. I'm gonna add this to my little folder, cameras folder, and then I'm gonna add this to the sequencer. Now I have 2 shots in the sequencer, shot 1 and shot 2. If I hit Shift C again, I'm still only looking at one camera, but what I wanna do is have it cut to camera 2. So first let's place camera 2. So I'm gonna click the little icon there so I can like look through the camera and pilot it, and I'm gonna kind of put it in the place I want, which is about sort of like this. I want to have it's going to be an over-the-shoulder shot of the chicken, so I can sort of see. It's mostly about her, but you get a sense of like he's still in the shot a little bit. I'm going to adjust the depth of field so that she's in focus. There we go. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so it's more on her face. And then in my transform, some fine adjustments, kind of pitch down a little bit. There we go. Okay. All right. So that is that camera. And what we're going to do is right up at this point, I'm going to go to this little plus button on the camera cuts track, and I'm going to go new binding shot 2. And so what's actually happening, you can sort of see a preview. Hit Shift C again. Now you're looking through the camera cuts track. Hit play, and right there it cuts. I feel like that's a little late. I want that to be a little earlier. So you just move the cut point to where you want. I think that's better. Yeah, okay, it's feeling pretty good. I think I'm gonna do actually one more camera in here that's like a little bit more of a medium shot. This is like the wide establishing shot. I'm gonna do one more that's a little bit punched in. So add another camera. This one, we'll call it shot 1B. Add this to our cameras track, and then add shot 1B over here. And this one, I want it to be a close-up of like the arrival at the box. Something like this. This is the situation. We just arrived at the box at the same time. It's a little bit out of focus. This is gonna be a fast camera, so it doesn't have to be long, but I want it to be like right about there. I'm gonna bind this shot 1B. So now hit Shift C and you'll be able to see come in. Okay, yeah, I want this a little earlier. All right. So what I actually want is I kind of want to have a little bit of a hold here on her performance. I want to just have like a little moment to kind of see her reaction. The movement is kind of a little bit too much. She's like looking down, and there's a little bit of like motion capture feel. You're seeing her body move around. It's not very clear. Like I just want you to really be able to look at her face. So I'm going to add a little bit of a hold here. And to do that, I'm going to go to my characters track. I'm going to rename this so that I can remember who it is. So this is win, and this one is lose. All right, so now I can know which one's which. Okay, so on win, this character right here, I want to add a hold. I want it to kind of stay in this pose for just a second. So I'm going to just hit this button right here, create a new keyframe, lockdown key, like on every control on this character has been locked off. That's what I want, so that I know that like this is not going to change. And I'm going to mark this with a little marker. Let's see, that frame right there, add a mark. That's the key. That's the frame that I locked. Now I'm going to select every keyframe after that, and I'm going to just drag this over a little bit. To make it even more clear, I'm going to select this frame, Control C to copy it, Control V to paste it. So there. So now she literally has a held frame. That's what we want. We just want it to be super clear what's happening. She just arrives, and this is the moment where you sort of see her reaction. I'm going to drag that action a little bit later. Cool. So we have enough time on this camera to kind of like see her face, see her reaction. And we'll add a little bit of looks and stuff on her to kind of like assess the situation. Meanwhile, Chicken is also doing the same thing in that shot. We watch her reaction, and then we're going to cut over and watch his reaction too. And it'll get a little comedy, because it'll be like, you see her like, oh, and then you'll see him as a chicken, maybe doing a little bit of like, something like that. Also, like she's also kind of like arriving, and it's hitting a wall. We should smooth that out just a little bit. So I'm gonna select her body control, which is this right here. You can see right here, you can see that hold that I just added. See how the frames like just lock and freeze? And we want to have is like a little bit of an ease into that. So it's just kind of like, this is her rise. Okay, so we want to just add a little bit of an ease in. So I'm going to hit S to make a new key. Right here where I have this blend neighbor tool, I'm going to just drag this down a little bit to kind of give her a little bit of an ease into that pose. We will add like a little bit of head darts and stuff, eye darts and things like that. Let's just do that right now because we're in here. So I select her head control, Alt, caret forward, Alt to frame forward and backward, and then add a little bit of a head up. So I can see this is the look. Oh yeah, so we want to have a little bit of a hold. Yeah, this is just her head animation. We're going to work on the eyes next. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this. So let's move this Let's select transform. Move this down so that I can make this a little bit of a bigger. Okay, let's hit Shift C over the sequencer to watch this play. They run in. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna massage this cut point a little bit because when we cut from here to this shot, now we don't see any characters, so I need to have a little bit of something. Probably like about there is where that cut point needs to happen. Cool, not bad. Let's do some eye darts on her. Let's get some animation on her head and her eyes. So we have a body control rig that's applied to her right now, and we need to add another one, a control rig that's just for her face. So to do that, we click on the character device, click on the plus, and then we add another control rig. And now we're gonna do control rig Fortnite face rig. There's two different ones that are in here. There's a Fortnite metahuman face rig, which is a little bit more advanced. This one has a lot more controls on it. This one is just a very simple one. This one I'm gonna use because it's just like, I don't want a whole bunch of controls. I just want something simple for the eyes and maybe something for the mouth. So I'm gonna click on this control rig Fortnite face rig, add that. And now there's this little simple UI that just popped up on her face, and this will allow me to do some basic animation to her face. If I want to move her eyes around, I can do that with that control. There is individually, I can do like, oh, that's a squint, that's kind of nice. This is a brow adjustment, just nice simple stuff. There's some lip controls. Oh, that's nice. I can do a smile with the corners of the mouth. Nice. Okay, so I've got that on there. Okay, so we get to this shot right here, boom. That is about where we want to have that acting on the eyes. So I'm going to select this one. Look. Yep, that makes sense. And now right here, right when she's like looking down, I want to have like a little bit of lead the action. So look down with her pupils. And then right before she looks back up again, I'm going to lead the action again with the pupils and look up. Cool. Let's refine this now. Here's those keys I just authored. Her eyes are a little bit... I want the lids to be wide open, so I'm just gonna move this up. There we go, nice wide open expression. So now we come in. Yeah, cool. Our pupils are going a little bit too far down. We don't really want that, but okay, that's the up and down one. That's the one we care about. We just want this. This is the eye dart right there. So a typical eye dart I like to do is a 2-frame eye dart where it's 2 frames. Most of the movement occurs in the first frame, and then there's a little bit left in the second frame. So let's do that on the second one. Eye darts are very fast. And it's going a little bit too far down. We don't need to go that far. Let's back off a little bit on that. We want sort of like we want like a nice balance between the eyes are looking and the head is moving too, but we want mostly to be in the eyes. And right now I think the head is moving just a little bit too much. So let's select the head. This one here is the head control. You can see the animation of the head. Scale this back a little bit. It's feeling good. All right, save that. I want to open up her mouth a little bit because it looks kind of weird that her mouth is closed. I want to have her like kind of a little bit more of a slack jaw, like a surprised expression. Shift C to bump out of that. Go back to my perspective camera. I'm just going to open up her mouth, give her like a little bit of a surprise expression. Cool. Let's see how that feels. Feels all right. I don't like seeing her upper teeth so much, so let me just fix that. Shift C, lip upper. Yeah, there we go. Lower that just a little bit. Yeah, okay. That's feeling good for her. Okay, now let's work on the other character. This is gonna be shot 3, new camera, setup, cinema camera actor. Rename this to shot 3. Move this into the cameras folder, add this to my track. And now we are looking through shot 3. We're gonna pilot this around. I want it to be the same as the other one. It's a little bit of an over the shoulder of her looking at his expression. So we need to zoom in so we can see his face, adjust the focus. Just want to see a tiny piece of her, but mostly this is about him. Cool, so let's try that for now. I'm gonna bind shot 3. Okay, let's watch this again. Zoom in, cut to her, cut to him, cut to her, cut to him. Same thing. He is moving too much. So right about here, when he just gets to about this spot, I'm gonna hold him, put a hold on him, just like I did with her. Okay, so select. Oh, another thing, I'm gonna just clean this up a little bit. These shots, I'm just gonna put them into my cameras folder there, so I can close that and just look at the characters. So losing guy right here, right about at this point here is where I want to have him hold. Make a keyframe there, a hold frame on every key on his control. Add a marker so I remember where that frame is, and then I'm gonna select everything after that and just drag it down so that I can have a little bit of a hold. And then I'm gonna copy this frame, Control C, Control V, there. So now he has a hold. And it's not long enough, so I'm just gonna drag this out a little bit. It's a little bit of a wobble in here. I think it's something, there's probably something that's in his like body control. Yeah, there it is, you can see it. There's a little bit of a wobble there. We don't want that. I'm just gonna straighten this out. Cool. All right, so now we have characters arrive. Yeah, I just want to hang on her just a little bit longer. It's like that shot's too short. Yeah. What? And then we just have chicken here. Chicken's gonna do like a. Okay, let's do a little bit of animation on chicken head. Shift C to block out of that, and then I can come over here and select this control for the head. On the head control, I'm gonna do that with rotation. So here's our head control right there. We just want to do like a couple of like sharp movements on the head. Hit S to set a key, move forward a couple of frames. It's gonna be a really sharp move, so just like a little. Let's see, what does that feel like? I'm gonna set another key there, and I'm gonna make sure that those are the same. So this is held. And then after this one, do another adjustment. There we go. Put another key with S and then lock that down. And I'll hold these frames too. Okay, so let's see how this is playing. Maybe you could, and what we want to happen now is we see her expression, we see his, and then the next thing we want to do is cut back to her face and see her go like, are you ready? You want to do paper, rock, scissors? So in this situation, I'm actually going to cut back to shot 2. Shot 2 is this one, shot 3 is this one, and to go back to shot 2, you just go back to the camera cuts track, hit plus, select shot 2, and now it cuts back to her shot. So I'm gonna do a little bit of work here. Some of this is kind of tedious. I'm just gonna have a little fun. I'm gonna hash this out a little bit, do some custom animation on her arm, refine a little bit of this, and we'll jump back in when we're kind of in a better spot. So be right back. All right, we're back. Okay, so I've done a nice job sort of polishing this up and kind of cleaning things. I'm feeling pretty good about it now. Like, if you watch this, we can just play it. It's feeling really good. And oh, she's in a nice win. Yeah, I really worked on trying to have some clarity. So like a shot like this, like a really clear hand pose really shows up in frame and you see it. There's like a nice amount of negative space. Like his head is over there, her head's over there. Like you can just see that hand, like really clear, and nothing else on her is moving. She's really calmed her down. All I'm doing is like closing her mouth and pushing her brows down a little bit and closing her lids just a little bit. And it gives that like more of an intense feeling. She also has a little blink in there. A blink is always sort of an easy thing to do to kind of add some life. Blinks are kind of like your way of like having a camera cut on the world. Usually a blink will happen over a head turn or something. That's pretty common to do, or just to kind of keep the character alive. Same with this shot here. I really worked hard to kind of get that hand like in the empty space right around there so that you're looking in the right spot. If I had the hand over his body, like it just wasn't reading. So that means sort of like reposing him just a little bit. You can see here, like when I want to hold, the keys are locked down, there's no animation, and then I'll do a bake on the whole key. A couple of other things I added just some camera zooms. There's a little bit of like this one right here and this one. If it's not a static camera, there's a little bit of like a tracking in on each shot. Just adds a little bit of intensity, keeps it alive. And then this one, yeah, just showing what we're talking about. Cut on the action. There we go. and then have a nice like opening up, showing everything again, you know, kind of like orbiting around a little bit to kind of like celebrate this victory. Woohoo! And you see him like kind of walking away. Another thing that I worked on was just this shot in particular, like really lining up the timing that involved initially when I first placed it, that it was like a little bit off and it didn't work. Just doing stuff like that. Just working hard to get clarity. I think that that's often something that's kind of missed. Clarity means like, what are we trying to look at? Let's have that the thing that we're looking at. If something else on the character is moving, well, you want your eyes to be right here on my eyes, like, and I'm also doing that, you're not going to be looking at my face as much. Or if I'm like, if there's like a shoulder moving down here, when you want the character to be looking at the face, trying to like really keep it simple, keep it clear. Clarity is cool. All right, so a couple of other things that I set up. Look, you can see all my cameras. There's so many cameras. If they're just bugging you and you want to turn them off so that you can't see them, you select all these cameras and then you just can invis them there. So now you can't see the cameras anymore. They're still there. You can still watch your shot. You watch your cinematic, but you don't have to look at them in the perspective view anymore. So this thing on the ground, oh, I gotta be able to select it. Right there. Uncheck this so that I can actually select it. Okay, this thing is called a trigger. You can find this in your Fortnite folder if you type trigger. That is this thing right here. What this is doing is, we're going to play the game in a second. What happens is when you run in as your third person character, you run along the ground here. When you land on this thing, it's going to initiate the cinematic so that it starts to playing. Like, it's going to play the cutscene. It's referencing this thing. This is called a cinematic device. This is another thing you can find if you type cinematic device. Here it is right here. Drag this into your scene. The one I added earlier, you come down here to play function. So you add the trigger first, and then once the trigger is there, the cinematic device, you can add this, you can add it right here, the trigger. You can add it so that when this is initiated, it plays this cinematic device right there. Oh, and then you have to select your level sequence. So level sequence, paper, rock, scissors. That's the one that we are using. This is the level sequence. Okay, so the cinematic device is going to play that level sequence when this trigger calls it. So this trigger, when you add it on trigger down here, you have to select your cinematic device, which is this, and then you initiate the play function. It's already set up, so I don't have to do that, but this right here is what you're looking to hook up. A couple other things, visible in game. Okay, I have this unchecked. So when I play the game, you're not going to see this gray thing on the floor. If you leave that checked, then you will see it. Depends on what you want. I don't want to see it. I just want it to play. But I do want to hear the trigger, visual effects, and some sound effects. I do want those enabled. So that's what that is. Oh, the last thing I want to point out is, sometimes you don't need to see the whole body of the character. So I think just keep that in mind when you're telling your stories. Zoom in on the thing you want the audience to look at. If it doesn't matter, then the audience doesn't need to see that. All right, so let's fire up Fortnite and see this in action. Oh, one more thing I wanted to point out. This thing right here. This is called a player spawner. Player spawner right here. If you launch your game right now without the player spawner, then you're going to start by just falling from the sky. And, if you played Fortnite before, no big deal. You'll pop your parachute and you'll land. But if you'd rather just like have your character just start right there or wherever you want, you can insert this into the scene and then you'll start right there. All right, so to fire up Fortnite, after you're done, you just hit this launch session button right there. Check everything in, save things. This is going to take a second. It has to upload everything and then it will fire up your game. And what's super wild is that this custom game that you've made, you've got a cinematic, it's yours. Once this is open, you can invite your friends to come here, play Fortnite on their computer or their PS5 or something, and they can go in, run around, and play your cinematic in their game. And anything. They can play it on their iPhone if they want. It's crazy. So there's just an enormous opportunity for collaboration with this stuff. Like, you can work on your own project, you solo, or you can work on a game with multiple people, and you can sync your assets across Fortnite. So somebody could work on animation, somebody could be building sets, somebody could be making a cinematic over here, somebody could be making a cinematic over there. There's just an enormous opportunity for storytelling. I'm just going to let this load for a second. Okay, so here I am running around. It's launching edit mode. This is kind of like a holding area. All right, so here we go. Game is in progress. So we're running in. There is my chest. Run in. And my cinematic plays. Oh, you can actually see my character. My third player character was sort of in the way. Play it again. There we go. Nice. So there we go. So you can see your two characters sitting there, the character devices that you added. If you want them to be doing something, you can put like an idle animation on them. You can put like something other than just a static pose. Okay, so the other thing I want to show you is, let's come over here for a second. If you look over there, look at this. You know what this is? Look at this right over here. So here we are. I'm in Cartwheel. Here's some animation I generated. I went on YouTube, downloaded Push It for Walk, and doing a little dance. Turned this into animation on this character that I generated. I made this character right here. And I just downloaded this and dropped it in my game. This is so cool. There's my character dancing in my world. I can't interact with this character. I can't shoot it or do anything, but it's just kind of like just there. It's just visually something interesting. But it's so easy to just drop something in if you want. Let me show you how to do that. It's pretty easy. Let's start with a new motion. Axle. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna find some kind of a dance feature. Okay, I like this wiggly dance. Okay, add that motion. Okay, now I got this wiggly dance on Axle. Download that. Download FBX, Unreal 30. Hit download. Done. Move that out of the way. Come over here to my editor. I'm gonna make a new folder for this and call it Axle. And then I'm gonna import wiggly dance. That's the one. I'm going to reset to default. I don't need to do anything. Just import animations. That's the only thing I need to check. Import. Literally all you have to do. This is so simple. Take the animation sequence right here. Drag it into your scene. That's it. Now, there's Axel sitting there. If you look over on anim to play, it's going to play the wiggly dance animation that we specified. It's going to loop it. It's going to play it automatically. We can even set the initial position right here, like what it starts with. You can change the rate that it plays if you want it to play slow or fast. It's like a multiplier, so 1 is normal, but if you make it 2, it'll play twice as fast. And that is it. Now, if I come back over to my game, I don't see it yet. And the reason is because I have to push my changes. I haven't seen it, so I'm going to hit pause. I'm going to push my changes right here, push that button. It's going to stop my game. Save selected. Okay, now it's uploading anything that I changed. Okay, so we're back in our game, and changes have been pushed. And there is Axel dancing around. Oh, no, there's another person. Hold on, I got to get rid of this. That one is shooting at me. That one. I got that one. Where are you? Go away. Stop it. They ran away. Okay, whatever. They saw me pick up this big gun and they ran away. But yeah, that's how easy it is to drop animation into your game. Like with Cartwheel, like you can create your own character. You can put animation on it. You can record your own animation from video. You can drop it on there and just put it in. So if you want to do something with crowds, or you just want to just fill up your game with something interesting that you designed. Maybe there's some like dance that you saw that people are doing and you just want to like put that in. It's easy to do. So have fun with that. That is a lot of fun. All right, friends, working on this tutorial has been a great way to learn more about UEFN, and it's been really neat to see how the creators on this platform are really hungry to create stories. It's really inspiring. It's also really exciting for Cartwheel because we're all about the same thing, making tools to help people tell their stories. Thanks for watching. Check out the links in the description for the Discord. Particularly, the Discord is where we live. Everybody on Cartwheel is there. Our whole team is there. If you have questions, if you're curious, if you want to share something you made, Discord is the place to do it. That's where we are. Look forward to seeing you there. There's a couple little things in the description that I learned when I was making this video, corrections and stuff like that. So just make sure you check that out. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.